Hi, I'm Deborah Bringelson, the founder of the Quantum Results Formula. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the formula that people just like you in 17 countries are using to transform their lives. I'm going to reveal the exact formula that I used to rock Richard Branson. Before we met, he was a very hard no to doing business with my clients. But he didn't know about my secret sauce. He was so wowed that he ended up signing a deal worth more than $300 million in annual revenue. Imagine if you had that secret and you or your salespeople could make more in just one sale than in all of last year.
Thursday morning, I woke up and everything felt different. And all of a sudden, it's like, I gotta call Deborah. I think I actually shifted Lifeline. A few hours later on Thursday, I made the biggest art sale of my life. I think I sold as much art in 2 hours as I did all of last year together.
What if you could break the false ceiling you have on your income and your life and make so much money that to celebrate you rent a private island in Belize with a private chef?
You're probably living smaller than you think. Nothing's not possible. Anything's possible, whether it's a business goal, whether it's a personal goal, whether it's renting a private island. One of the things that we were able to do is confidently more than double our prices. Do I want to go from making $10K a month to $100K a month to $1 million a month?
People are even using this secret formula to heal their bodies, like from cancer, in just 4 months without chemo.
Stuff really works. Deborah just shifted me.
To learn how to do it yourself, stick around because today I'm going to reveal all of that and so much more. Who wants to have a good class today?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who wants to have a really great class today?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So one of the ways that we do that is, we can sit back and we can be passive and just sort of listen. And one of the things that I always tell my students and my clients is, if you're just taking it in, it could be nice information, but it's not really going to do much for your life. The way that we change our lives is by taking what we learned and doing something with it. So, kind of play full on. I don't know what you know about me, but I have been teaching what I'm going to teach you today actively teaching it for about 12 years. But I really started using it about 40 years ago and developing my formula about 30 years ago. And what inspired me to do that, I started my career in politics and then transitioned into working with businesses. And one of the things that I discovered is that the more I use this formula when I was working with my clients, and when they started using it, their results, a lot of times growth results, they go kind of like this, but their results started to go like this. And you're going to hear about some of these specific clients as we talk this afternoon or this morning for those of you in Australia. And the reason I even got started with this is because my own life. When I was growing up, I grew up in a very traumatic, abusive home, a lot of violence in my home. And to be really honest, when I was in high school, I was like, you know what? If this is what life is, I don't want it. And I'm ready to be out of here. And it was because of that I was open to learning other things. And kind of as a lark, somebody took me to my first, I guess, guru would be the term to use at the time. And it wasn't, okay, Deborah's in trouble, she needs this. It was more of as a lark. But I really started learning some things that made a huge difference in my life. And that's what I want to today kind of share with you. Turn that off. So let me share my screen with you. Okay. I'm really glad that you're here today because you're going to get a behind the scenes tour of my secret results formula. And I'm going to share with you every single step along the way that my clients, my students use to remove blocks and heal every part of their lives, to make more money, to heal their business, relationships, their body, their health. But the first thing we need to start with, though, is that the results you're going to see may not be typical. I don't know you, I don't know what your abilities are, and I don't know how much you will apply what I'm going to show you here. So, you may think, oh, this is very interesting, but then go back to your daily life of struggle and lack, lack of money, poor health, not so happy. And some people may actually realize, oh my gosh, this is the missing piece. And they'll dive in and do it. So I'm going to show you everything, but it's up to you to get the results. Okay? All right. So the real problem is you're struggling and you don't have to. Are you sick and tired of the grind, working to just pay bills? Even when you're out having fun, there's that little tinge of stress, or maybe a lot of stress. You're out having a good time and there's that stress kind of layering over the top, and you're believing lies like you're not good enough, or what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or no pain, no gain, or you don't have what it takes. And that's something that unconsciously you're thinking, but maybe not admitting it even to yourself, but you are wondering, do I have what it takes? And your wallet, your bank accounts, your relationships, your body, your health, they're all showing the effects of this and the effects of too much stress. And you're thinking, is this really all there is to life? I hear that from a lot of people who say, if this is all there is, I'm not sure that I really want to stick around too much longer. So when you think about what's going on in your life, what if things haven't changed a year from now? You're just kind of ambling along, nothing's really changed, the flow of money is still the same. It's not what you really want to enjoy life. Sure, you might have enough to pay bills, but is that what you really want out of life? The ability to pay bills? Certainly not what I want. And what if things haven't changed 2 years from now? What if it's, still the same, ambling along? And how about 3 years from now? What's happening in your life 3 years from now if nothing changes? What's happening in your family, with your body, if nothing changes? So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Things will change, but probably not for the better. If you don't change your approach, then nothing's going to change for the better. We've all got buried beliefs and hidden trauma that are disrupting our lives. You've got hidden traumas, and it may not be anything dramatic. It might be something small that you hardly notice or that you've suppressed, but it's disrupting your life. It's disrupting your happiness, causing money problems, too many bills, broken relationships and family, and maybe even divorce. And these buried beliefs and hidden trauma and all of the stress that they cause are making you sick, literally. The Mayo Clinic says that it increases your risk of cancer by 200%, heart attack by 100%, and premature death by 20%. That's a lot of stress on your body. So if you want a life filled with health, wealth, abundance, and fun, who doesn't, right? You have to make a choice to live by a different set of rules, period. So I've been fine-tuning this formula for about 30 years now. I started learning it about 40 years, and I've been fine-tuning it for about 30 years. And I've been testing every single thing along the way. First, I test everything on myself. Does it work for me? And then I test it on my corporate clients, on entrepreneurs, and individuals. And I even test it on my own daughter. Wherever I can, I'm testing this. So I've discovered and have been using this formula that quickly and easily turns debt into cash and fun adventures, stuck business deals into signed contracts, and even doubles, triples, or 10x's people's revenue. One CEO that I taught it to, he was pre-revenue, he was a startup, and took what he learned, and within 5 weeks, he brought in and closed a deal worth $67 million. What would more money like that mean to you? What if you had that experience? And what if you could 4x your revenue in, say, 6 months or less, or heal your money, your relationships, your body almost overnight? The problem is, though, you're not being told how to do this until now, that is. So my goal for this training, my goal for you, and I mean this very sincerely, if there was one thing, just one thing I could teach you so that you can ditch the stress, the frustration, the money troubles, this would be it. I would want to help you remember what you know, because at a cosmic level, you know a lot of this. You've forgotten it. I want you to remember what you've forgotten. And I want you to remember what's under all of the lies that you've learned as you've developed. You know, and the lies that you've learned, it's not that people were evil. They believed them themselves. People told them, they believed them. But how many things, how many decisions do you make that are based on things that you've been told that are not necessarily true? They may be true for some people, but they're not necessarily true for you. And the way we get control of this is to understand what it is the lies that we've learned and that we're living. So here's how we do this. I've taught this formula for years, and it includes 3 steps, 2 questions, 4 points of power, and it ends in real results. So what if there is a way to make more money, heal your relationships, fix your business, lose weight, and maybe have better sex? Well, you know what? There is. And I only wink a little bit when I say better sex, because one of the things that happens in our relationships when we're buried under all of these things that are going on with our money and our health is it affects how we interact with each other. And I learned this many years ago. One of my very first clients, she was hot. She was a beautiful, fun, sexy, blonde bombshell. And her husband was the epitome of tall, dark, and handsome. And I will never forget the day I literally almost fell out of my chair when she told me they hadn't been intimate for 3 years. Now, back then, I was shocked when I heard that. Now, I'm more surprised if I don't hear that. So there are all kinds of ways that you can heal your relationship and what's going on in your world. So I've been perfecting the formula since about 1993, using it with politicians. I started my career in the political world, using it, helping politicians get elected, using it to help business owners grow their business, and helping just regular people. And there are 2 big things that are stopping you from having the business, the money, the happiness, and the life that you deserve. Here's the first big issue that's in your way. As I said, you've been lied to, and you're living those lies, and those lies are destroying your happiness. Here are some examples. You know, your family lies to you. This is an example from my own life. This is me in high school, and I'm 6 feet tall, I'm an athlete, and I believed that it was complete truth that I was hugely fat, because my family kept telling me that I was. Started from what I remember in about 2nd or 3rd grade, I was fat. And as I grew up and got older, no boys are going to like you. You're too fat. Why are you doing this to your body? Why are you so fat? I believed that I was massively fat. I saw this picture about 16 years ago and I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't massively fat. But you know what? You get what you believe. And because I believe that, I was told that that's who I identified with, that's the body that I created because of the lies that I was told by my family. Society lies to you. Think of the different professions that are out there, one of which this beautiful woman is an artist. And you've heard the term starving artist. Well, she certainly had. And, you know, everyone knows, whether it's fact or not, everyone knows it, that artists don't make money until they die, if they ever do. And the media and marketers lie to you. You know, you've got to have this app, or you've got to have this little, I call them one-shot wonders, because they don't really solve a problem. They may do something a little bit here or there, but they don't get to the root of what's going on and fix it holistically. And we also lie to ourselves. We tell ourselves stories, like Nadia told herself the story. She wasn't conscious of this. She wasn't doing it on purpose, but she told herself the story that she didn't deserve wealth, so she didn't have it. The biggest challenge you face is ditching those lies, because they block you from money, they destroy your relationships, and they lead to massive stress that destroys your health. And they keep you from knowing that the real power is to having the life that you want. It's within you. It is you. The second big problem in your way, and the reason all of those one-shot wonders you've tried fail, is because you're treating the parts of your life as if they are completely separate. Your business or your work is separate from your body, is separate from your relationships, and that's just not true. Your job and your business and your family and your relationships and health and money and your adventures, your holidays that you take, your spirit, your spiritual needs, your fun, your self-care are all interrelated. If one is out of balance, it affects all of them. So if you only deal with one, if you only try to solve and fix one, all of the others are not going to be helped. Your body is still going to be out of whack if all you're working on is your money. Your relationships are going to be out of whack if all you're trying to do is fix your business. And what that means for you is everything is buried under stress. Can you feel it? You know, for many years, I did what most people do. I lived life broken into dozens of pieces. And I wasn't happy with anything that was happening in my life, because all of those pieces should have been working together to support me, and they weren't. Is that what's happening for you? I bet there's a good chance that there is. So what are the lies that are cutting your happiness and your prosperity into shreds? You know, and a lot of times we don't even really recognize what they are. A great example is a client that I had who was a great guy, but he was making lots of mistakes, really erratic decisions. He was constantly changing course, and it was really frustrating his team. They were fed up with it, frankly, and it was affecting his revenue pretty significantly. And I said to him, I said, I think the problem is that what your relationship with your dad, that hidden trauma of the relationship with your dad and the things that you believe. And he said, what? You're crazy. What are you talking about? I have a really great relationship with my dad. And I said, oh, really? See, he believed that in order to be a good person, which he was, he had to have a good relationship. He had to be a good son, and he had to have a good relationship with his parents. But his dad, who didn't work for the business, came in 3 or 4 times a week looking around for things that were wrong and constantly criticizing. And he kept saying, and I said this to the client, I said, do you remember when you told me that your dad said to you, when are you going to smarten up and sell this business and get a real job? Do you remember when he told you that you weren't smart enough to be the CEO of your own company? All of those things were causing him, those lies were causing him to make erratic decisions. It was affecting his revenue. It was affecting his relationships with his workers, with his team, with his family. And they were tearing his happiness and his prosperity into shreds. So you need two things. The first thing that you need, where you need to start, is with freedom. I mean, just feel the energy of the word freedom. Doesn't that feel great to think of yourself as completely free? And to do that, you have to stop living other people's lies. You just have to stop. What is it that's true for you? Doesn't matter what's true for somebody else. What's true for you? Think about all of the decisions you make based on other people's opinions and what they've told you. You need to let that go, starting today. The second thing is you need real power. And to get that, you need to claim your right to your life. It's your life. It's no one else's life. And think everyone has an opinion of what you should be doing. Like this client, his dad's opinion was, you're not smart enough to have your own company, go get a job. Well, everybody has, if you know 20 people have an opinion of what you should be, of what your life should be. And if you try to live everybody else's opinion, you're turning yourself into a pretzel. And who wants to do that? So stop living other people's lives and claim your right to have your own life. And when you do this, your results, your life changes overnight. Yes, it really does have the power to change your life. Can you see that? Can you see that if you were to just do these two things alone, they would transform your success and happiness dramatically? Give it a try. Look, I know there's no shortage of information out there. Everyone and their brother is happy to teach you a piece. You know, you've got people say, well, do this one thing, or buy this one app, or buy this one strategy. And they don't talk about how all of the pieces of your life fit together like that puzzle. And what you need a formula that empowers you to claim your life of freedom and health and money and fun. But no one's willing to give you the entire puzzle in one package. They want to string you along. Well, here's a little bit, here's a little piece of candy. They don't give you the whole thing. And what you need is the exact formula, the entire package that empowers you to claim your life of freedom, of health and money and fun. You know, if I were you, I'd be more than frustrated. I'd be furious. Frankly, I'd be pissed because you have been lied to. Your power has been stolen. You don't have the life that you want because your power has been stolen. And everyone wants to tell you that they have the secret, but no one is willing to give it to you. Until now, that is. There's only one person you can trust. Do you know who that is? Can you think, okay, who's the one person in my life that I can trust? It's the person you see in the mirror, and I'm going to prove this to you. So here's me in high school, believing that I was massively fat. I believed what I was told. I trusted the people who told me this, who told me that they loved me as they were telling me that I was too fat to find a boyfriend. And that's the body I created because I believed them. But when I discovered that I'd been lied to, when I realized that I was in control of my life, and I took my power back and I used this formula. I didn't diet. I didn't take any drugs. I didn't have any surgeries. I didn't do anything. The only thing I did was I shifted time using this formula. And this is a picture of me today because I trusted myself rather than the people who were lying to me. The artist that I told you about, living those limits of the starving artist. Well, she used the formula to shift to a higher lifeline. Within 36 hours, she made the largest sale of her life. She ditched those beliefs, made the largest sale of her life, and actually made more money in that one sale than she made in all of last year. And this CEO, you know, running from here to there, I've got to try this app, I've got to try that one-shot wonder. Everything, you know, worked a little bit, but nothing was really solving his problems. Put the formula into place, and this is him afterwards. He moved his business from one state to a whole new state, brick and mortar business, moved the entire thing during a pandemic. He also, at the same time, using the formula, doubled his prices and increased his sales 30%. So not only were his prices doubled, but his sale rate increased by 30%. Monthly, his growth is 36 to 95% revenue growth every month. So what did he do to celebrate? He took his fiance, rented a private island, rented the whole island, private island in Belize with a private chef, and they celebrated their engagement. All of these things that we're told by other people causes us to doubt ourselves. We try to be that pretzel for everybody else, and we start lying to ourselves. Nadia didn't make any revenue for 12 months. And I said to her, I said, I think you're blocking your ability to make money. There's something there. Can we try working at the quantum level? So we did. We met. We uncovered that she had a hidden belief. It wasn't something she was sitting around thinking consciously. She had a hidden belief that because she grew up in a wealthy family, she didn't deserve wealth. In that same session, we cleared that out at the quantum level. We went in deep, cleared that out. Within 8 days, she created $298 million. She hadn't made any money at all for 12 months. Within 8 days of discovering what the block was and clearing out the block, she created $298 million. That turned into, at the end of 12 months, $602 million. So what do you think? Good formula? So what is it that produces these results? Well, it's called the quantum results formula. And how does it work? It deletes the false ceiling you've put on your life and helps you claim the wealth, the health, the freedom, and joy that you deserve. And what do I mean by a false ceiling? So we talked about the artist. Well, we were talking one day and she said, I'd like to make $20,000 a month. And I said, great, that's imminently doable. That's not a problem. And she said, well, that's 4 sales. And do you recognize the false ceiling? Because I said to her, why is it 4 sales? And she said, well, because I make $5,000 per sale. And I said, well, why do you make $5,000 per sale? What if you want $20,000 a month, could that possibly be 2 sales? Could that possibly be 1 sale? I know her art. I know that it's incredible. It would not surprise me if she sold a piece for $20,000 instead of $5,000, but she had created this false ceiling on her revenue stream. I said, what if you sold your paintings for $20,000 a piece instead of 5? And what if you still made 4 sales in a month? That's $80,000 in a month. Wow. What can you do with your life if you don't have a false ceiling on the body that you can create or the money that you can create? If you're not living this way, you're not giving yourself a chance. You're not having what you deserve. So a few years ago, I was asked by the mayor of San Francisco to help lure Richard Branson, the Virgin guy, to the San Francisco Bay Area to locate his headquarters for his new airline there. And I said yes. I'd never done anything like this before. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I said yes. What I didn't know at the time was that he was a hard no. He was not coming to San Francisco. And the deck was really stacked against me. I had no budget. They asked me to do this, but they gave me no money to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll figure this out. I had 5 other cities that were under consideration. They all had big teams. Those cities had big teams of professionals who knew what they were doing. As I said, I'd never done anything like this before. I had only one staff person, not the big teams that the competition had. And we didn't have, the state of California where I was, didn't have a governor at the time. We had no one to take the lead from a governmental perspective. My competition, they had US senators and governors and celebrities. They were going to the Boston Red Sox games and on the big Jumbotron, they were welcoming Branson there and making a big deal about it. They had money to spend, so they were sending him presents just to get his attention. Like they were sending him live lobsters with little luggage tags on it. I had none of that. And what I didn't know at the time, that I only found out after the deal was closed, is that Branson actually was not interested in coming to California for a lot of political reasons that aren't important. They were never actually in consideration. They were being used because they wanted to use the state of California to get more money out of the places that they were actually considering going. And there was a lot of national attention on this, and people kept saying to me, Deborah, why are you doing this? You can't be successful. This can't be done. You shouldn't be doing this. You need to step out. But here's the thing. If you listen to too many lies, you'll find yourself taking the path that everyone else takes, the path to minimal success and frustration and failure if you're giving up before you ever start. And I have a message for everyone on that train. I have a message for you. Yes, you. You have the power and the ability to create your own reality. So I said, yes, I'll take this project on, and I found a way through. Branson didn't want to come to San Francisco, so he really wasn't all that interested in talking to me. Just kind of playing along. And I kept trying to reach out to him. I kept calling him to have a connection. I was kind of reminding myself about the guy who tries to get the attention of the cute girl. I don't think I ever actually asked what the math homework was, but it was kind of similar to that. I was always, okay, what can I call him about today? But what happened was I found a way to connect with him at the quantum level. And when I did that, I got him to begin courting me. So I wasn't chasing him. He became interested in what I was talking about. And by my following my inner knowledge to know the exact actions to take, I found a way to connect with him and to ignore all of the critics. And I found a way to harness the power of the quantum world. So finally, he's noticing me, he's courting me, and I get a call saying he's coming to the Bay Area in 7 days. And he wants to know what my best offer is. And what he meant by that is, how much money are you going to throw at me as an incentive to get me to locate there? I had no money to throw at him. It wasn't legal in the state of California. I didn't have access to it. I was just a hired consultant, so I didn't have access to any of that. So I had to figure out a different way. And he's coming in 7 days, and my intuition said, we've got more Fortune 100 and 500 CEOs than anywhere else in the country. Let's have a party, invite them, and I'll have them woo him so that it's not just me. The only problem is I have no budget. I have nowhere to have it. I don't even know how to reach these people. So I said, okay, I've got to toss this to the quantum world. And I did that. And I just released it. The next day, I get a phone call on my cell phone, and I never give my cell phone to anyone. About 3 people have my cell phone number. And I get a phone call, and this woman says to me, I hear you want to have a party for Richard Branson. And I said, yeah. And she said, well, how can I help? And I said, well, I don't have a place to hold it, and I don't have a budget for it. So I don't know if it's even going to happen. And she said, oh, well, you can have it at my house. Well, her house ended up being not a house. It was actually a palatial, beautiful palatial estate. That was a perfect venue for a party like this. And I said, oh, wow, that's great. Thank you. And I said, the other issue, though, is I don't have a budget at all for catering of any kind. I am kind of in paper cups and water mode at this point. And she said, oh, that's no problem. I will hire the caterer. It'll be fine. And I said, well, that's really awesome. Thank you. But I know who these Fortune 100 and 500 CEOs are, but I don't have a way to reach them. You know, I could send an invitation to their corporate office, but I have to have the invitations printed and mailed, and that all takes time. And now we're down to 6 days away before Brendan and his team are going to be here. I don't know how to reach them. And she said, oh, well, you know, I know Buck. And Buck owns a restaurant, and all of these people eat at Buck's restaurant, so he knows them all. I'll call Buck, and I'll have Buck invite them. And that's exactly what happened. Buck invited, and we ultimately had 50 Fortune 100 and 500 CEOs show up to help court Branson and help him understand why our location, remember, he was a hard no, I'm not going there, why our location was the best location for him. And remember, he wanted all of those incentives. Deborah, how much money can you throw at me? And my real answer was 0. So instead, what happened at that party is that the CEOs and Branson, we started putting deals together between their companies so that they could both benefit from the relationship. And that 300 million, 500 million that my competition was throwing at him was a drop in the bucket compared to the revenue that he could make by having these relationships, because it was an ongoing stream of revenue. So we had this fabulous party, fabulous catered party with champagne, great food, and an institution in the Bay Area at the time was something called Beach Blanket Babylon. And they are known for their performances and their massive hats. This is actually one of their massive hats. They came, they performed, wore the hat, everybody celebrated. And what happened right after that, Branson decided to locate his headquarters in San Francisco. He went from using this formula, it took him from a hard no way, not happening, to closing a deal worth more than $300 million in annual returns. So it wasn't just $300 million once, it was a revenue stream for my clients for San Francisco and the state of California ongoing. So you want to know the truth about all this? It's easy once you know how. One of my very favorite things is to say, what if what you want to do is easy? Well, once you know how, it's easy. So let me show you how the quantum results formula works. It's a formula that starts with 3 steps, 2 questions, and an understanding of the 4 components of your point of power. That's the foundation of it. Once you understand those 3 things, the 3 steps, the 2 questions, and the 4 components of your point of power. That's the little green boxes. That's the formula. Once you understand that, then you start reaching into the cosmic consciousness. And we do that with what I call guided processes. They're very different than meditations. Each one has a purpose. So if you need to clear blocks to money, like Nadia did, there's a guided process for that. If you need to heal your body in a certain way, releasing an illness or something, there's a guided process for that. There are 30 of those to take you into the cosmic consciousness. And, you know, one of the things that I discovered early on is there was a difference in success between people who got the formula and went off and did it on their own, and people who I held their hand to make sure that they were creating success. And so a big part of the formula is just having someone there who knows, oh, you stubbed your toe on learning this. This is how you fix that. Or you don't understand something. Well, this is how it really works. Or getting into those unconscious beliefs that you have, like Siglinda, who had that ceiling on her revenue because she wanted to make 4 sales a month at, frankly, a dollar amount that was quite low. She didn't recognize that. Nadia didn't recognize that she had these beliefs that she didn't deserve wealth. The guy that I told you about, the CEO's dad, came in and disrupted his business. He had no clue that his relationship with his dad was that destructive for his business. So having someone to guide you through that, that's a huge part of the formula, so that you can clear your blocks to money and success. Everyone I've worked with, I can't say 100% of the people on the planet maybe, but everyone I've worked with in 17 countries, thousands of people in 17 countries for 30 years have had this number one block to money and success, and that is fear. Fear at some level. Fear I'm not good enough. Fear I can't do it. Fear that I'm doing something wrong. Clearing that, learning to shift your energy to clear that out, and operating at the meta and the quantum level. Well, what does meta mean? You live a physical life. Well, meta means above, energetically above the physical. So when you're working in the metaphysical and the quantum world, you're working at an energetic level. Science tells us that everything is particle and wave. It's part particle. If you look at something as particle, like if you look at your hand, it's solid, it's particle. But if you look at it very closely, not with your eyes, but you have to look at it very closely with equipment, you can see that the components of your hand are actually moving like waves. And when I tossed to the universe, to the quantum world, my need to close the deal with Branson and took it out of my hands, the quantum world stepped in and allowed things to move more quickly and easily. So it wasn't like I was trying to push the boulder uphill. You ever feel like you're doing that? You're trying to push the boulder uphill. And so when you start living in the quantum field, that's when you know you've got the formula in hand and you're living your life that way. You're living your life exactly the way you want it, with the money that you want, with the joy that you want, with the health that you want, the body you want, the relationships that you want. When you're living in the quantum world, that's how it works. And no, you do not have to know a lot of complicated math. I mean, you know, people say to me, wait a minute, Deborah, I'm not Einstein. I can't understand quantum physics. You know what? You don't have to. You don't understand how to make electricity, right? And unless you're in that industry, you probably don't understand how to make electricity, but you do know how to walk over and flip the switch. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't have to understand all of the complicated math, because we do it at a practical level, a way that you're living your life practically by flipping the switch and turning it on. So the big key component to all of this is, one, you have the full formula. There's nothing left out. Everything's included. And every step of the way, you've got someone holding your hand, holding your hand. Yes, this is how you do it. That's not working for you? Okay, this is what you do. This is how we clear that out. This is how we solve that problem. So what does it look like? What does it really look like? How have thousands of people in 17 countries used this formula to create collectively over $10 billion, save their families, find real peace, and create lives that they love. What does that look like in the real world? Well, this is what it looks like. All of these people all over the world, 17 countries, who are creating their own reality. They're not living under the false limits that they've been told to live under. They're not trying to twist themselves into a pretzel and taking what they get. They're actually creating their own reality. They're creating the business success that they want. They're creating the health that they want. They're creating the joy that they want. So what if you had the quantum results formula working for you right now? What could you create? For example, if you own your own business, what if you use this formula in your business? Just as an example, one of the big issues in companies is HR and not having the right people or having them trained or having them work well together. What if you could use it to hire the right employees? What if you could use it to close deals? One of my clients, she uses it to energetically assess what the best price is for her services, deal by deal. So she uses it to close deals and make sales at the best price. What if you could use it to make the right decisions and solve sticky problems, or stop being erratic, as a lot of people are? You know, they make one decision today and then have self-doubt and, okay, well, let's make a different decision tomorrow. What if you didn't need to do that because you knew the right decision, because you had help to make it? What if you could teach the quantum results formula to your employees? So you're using it to create the reality you want and make your life easier. What if they were using it to make better business decisions and make their life easier? Everyone in the company could be in the flow. And what if you could teach the formula to your children? When I first graduated from college, I had a political science degree, and everybody would say to me, well, what are you going to do with a political science degree? And I said, oh, well, I don't know, maybe I'll teach. You laughed at me. Deborah, you can't teach. You don't have a teaching credential. You don't have a master's degree. You can't teach. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to send my resume, and I did my resume and a cover letter to, there were 3 colleges near my hometown. And I sent them a letter and said, hey, you should hire me. And I got 2 back that said, we don't need anyone, thank you. But I didn't need 3 jobs, I only needed 1. And the 3rd one, which was actually my first choice, it was the closest and I thought it was a good fit. They wrote me back, brought me in for an interview, and my very first job out of college was teaching political science at a local college. Because even though I didn't have the formula, the fully formed formula like I just showed you, I didn't have that at the time, I understood the concepts and I was practicing them and using them on myself. I've also taught the formula to my daughter. She only wanted to go to one university, and she's been using this formula her whole life, but she used it to get into her dream school. She said, there's only one school I want to go to. I'm only going to apply to this one school and I'm going to get in. She used the formula, she applied, she got in to her dream school, early admission, first try. She also she's an actor, and she uses the formula to get free Broadway tickets all the time, backstage passes, free backstage passes all the time. The Taylor Swift concert that just created all the big problems with getting tickets. My daughter's a huge Taylor Swift fan. Since she was about 10, we've seen every concert of Taylor's since then. And she didn't even try to get concert tickets for this latest concert. A couple of days after the tickets went on sale, she called me and she said, guess what? I got my Taylor Swift tickets. Her friend had 2 tickets and invited her. She said, hey, I've got this extra ticket, invited her to take the extra ticket so they could go to the concert together. She didn't make any effort at all. She just put it out there. This is what I want. New concert, want to go. She also used it, the formula, to get her first paid acting gig. She was in high school. She was just taking her very first acting class and landed her first paid gig. What if you could not only use this yourself, but teach it to your children? What a difference. One, you would be demonstrating for them that they could have control over their own life because you would have control over yours. And you would be teaching them exactly how to do it using the formula. The very simple formula of creating your own life. And guess what? This isn't something, it took me a long time to create this formula and test it all out and get it down to something that was people could use easily. But because it's all there, it works right off the bat. Like John, one of the things that he really wanted was more time with his family, but he needed to grow his business so he could hire people to take on a lot of the work that he didn't want to do anymore. Within 6 months, he 10x'd his leads, he 10x'd his sales, and 10x'd his revenue in 6 months. And we all know the Discovery Channel. They use this to grow their revenue 110% in just 10 months. It's a huge company. Huge companies are hard to change, but they did it actually quite easily. What if you could use this to heal your body quickly? Joan came to me and she had been diagnosed with leukemia, and her doctor, her oncologist, was really pushing her to start chemo. And she didn't want to do that. She didn't want those toxins in her body. And we started working together. Within 4 months, she went back to the doctor. He did tests, checkup, tests, blood tests, and everything. And he said to her, oh, I'm so glad you decided to start the chemo. And she said, no, I didn't. And he's like, well, what are you doing? And she told him, and he didn't understand it. He's very kind of rigid in his thinking about medicine. He didn't understand it, but he said, look, I don't understand what you're doing, but it's working. So just keep doing it. It's all about having freedom, having the freedom that allows you to live the life that you want to live on your terms, not on other people's terms, not controlled by what's in your bank account or what's happening in your body. The freedom to choose, to create your own reality. Thousands of lives have been transformed, billions of dollars have been created, and thousands of relationships have been saved, as you can see. So what do you think? Is that a good formula? It's the secret to having the money, the business, the health, and relationships you deserve. And do you see how it's the full package? It's not one piece that, gives you maybe a little result here or a little result there. It treats you like it's a real package. You're a real package. So you deserve to have a full life. So why does it work? How does it work? Well, it's because the cosmic consciousness does the heavy lifting for you. When I wanted to throw that party for Branson, I was not going to make it happen on my own. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the money, the contacts, all of the things that I needed. So I allowed the cosmic consciousness to take over the heavy lifting and solve all of those problems for me, allowing me to have that massively successful party in just 7 days with people who took over and helped me close the deal rather than my doing it all on my own. So who does this work for? Well, if you're a person who's struggling with money, with your business, your relationship, struggling with life, that's who it works for. So today I promise to teach you why you're so frustrated with all of this and how to stop living just to pay bills and how to reclaim your health and really live life on your terms. How did I do? So let me ask you a question. Right now, you're probably feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so much information. How do I actually take this and make it happen? Well, I don't want to leave you drowning. That's not why I'm in this business. It's not why I created this formula. I really want it to help. And remember, I talked about taking you by the hand. Well, I'd like to do that. Give you some information so you can actually turn this into reality for yourself. So are you okay if I quickly, it'll take about 4 minutes, if I quickly show you how I can help you further? You okay with that? So I fully recognize this may not be for everyone, but if you'll allow it to, it really will rock your world. All right. So what now? Okay, here are the 3 big challenges as I see them that you're going to have as you're moving forward. You know, there's a lot of information out there about what people call the law of attraction, not a favorite phrase of mine because I don't think it's complete. But, you know, you can watch YouTube videos and pick it up a piece at a time. But how many years is that going to take to learn all of this and have it start working in your life? It'll be years, I believe. And how much time and money are you going to waste? You know, it's not just wasting money on those one-shot wonders or things that are ineffective, but how many opportunities are you going to lose? Like the artist, okay, I want to make $20,000 a month. That's 4 pieces of art. Well, what if you could still sell 4 pieces of art at $20,000 each and make $80,000? Without the formula, she wouldn't have had those opportunities to grow her revenue that significantly. And how much longer are you going to let fear hold you back? Because that's a sticking point. That's the number 1 block to money and success is fear. It holds you back. I'm not good enough for wealth, so I'll go 12 months without making any money. Nadia didn't say that to herself. She wasn't thinking it, but subconsciously, that's what was happening. So would you agree that avoiding these challenges would make really a huge difference to your income, to your entire life, to your family's life? That not just that your life would change, but what you're showing your family, what you're demonstrating would be dramatic. So something new that I've never offered before, it's called the quantum results formula. And it's an entire masterclass in, we have 1 phone call. You and me have 1 phone call. We'll go over the entire masterclass and I'm going to hold your hand. And in that one-on-one session with me, we're going to map out for you your plan to implement the formula. Because look, the formula, my experience is it works for people, but everyone's a little bit different. It works differently. And that's one of the keys to its success is even people who are different can still make it work for them. It can be tailored to fit. So we go over the entire formula. Here's the thing. If you give me a willing person who's sick of working to pay bills, who keeps asking, is this really all there is to life? Who's sick of seeing your body decline and who's secretly terrified that, you know, maybe I'm not good enough. And if you're a willing person, within 3 months, you can take back control of your money, your body, and your life, all without deprivation, and really reclaim the true joy of living with 0 limits. So here's what it could look like for you. You could be guided, like Siglinda was, into the quantum field to learn the secret to jumping from a current unhappy state into a lifeline of prosperity and success, to have more money. It could be you looking in the mirror and seeing yourself doing that. Or you could be like Vivica, who intentionally creates the results that she wants. She has a meeting with a prospective client. She feels into the energy, she understands what to do, and she creates the results that she wants. She has more confidence and closes bigger deals and has better results. What if that was you looking in the mirror and doing that for yourself? Or what could it look like for your body? What if you knew how to shift time? Time doesn't exist. That is one thing that Einstein has taught us. Again, you don't have to know the math around it, but time does not exist. What if you could shift your body to a time where it was healthy, like Joan did in healing her leukemia, or like I did when I shifted my body and lost the weight that I had been carrying around? What if you could do that? Have less weight, better health. What if you could look in the mirror and see yourself doing that? Does that sound great? So without the quantum results formula, how long would it take you to start creating the money you desire? Start healing your relationships. Start creating that reality that you want and have the life of freedom that you actually enjoy and that you deserve. How would you feel if you had the quantum results formula working in your life right now? If you had a formula for doubling or tripling your results, or if you were able to 4x your revenue in your business? Imagine no more making decisions about what to do or to eat based on how much it costs. You want to go on vacation? You go. You go first class. You're not worried about the cost. You go out to dinner. You don't look at the prices. You just pick what you want. What if you had no more not knowing what to do? No more trying to figure it out. No more not knowing who to trust. No endless arguments with your spouse. No more endless arguments with your children. No more endless arguments with your neighbors, your bosses, your coworkers, your employees. And this is a big one. No self-medicating with alcohol, drugs, food, Netflix. No more feeling bad about yourself. No more self-doubt. No more wondering, is this all there is to life? And no more feeling like you're not good enough. Would you like to have a quantum results formula in your life to help you create more money, better health, better relationships, less stress, and more fun? I'm happy to chat with you and see if I can help you. There's a pretty good chance that the economy is troubling you and the fear and uncertainty of everything that's going on, it's hurting your brain, and not knowing what's going to happen has you stressed. I have a solution for all of this, and what it means is that you too can finally have the life of freedom and peace that you want and that you deserve. So if this sounds good to you, I can only take on 5 students at once. I'll explain how it works and whether I think you can win. We'll come up with a plan that works for you. And look, if I don't think I can help you, I'm going to tell you that too. I'm known for being pretty direct, maybe a little blunt. So, I'm not going to pressure you, and I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. My help is the application only, and I'm not going to push anything on you. So who's this for? Well, it's for you if you want a life of freedom, if you want more money, if you want better health, if you want healthy relationships and less stress and more fun. I always say more money, less stress, more fun. That's what life's about. If you can say yes to this, then I'm happy to interview you and see if you're a good fit for this. So here's what to do next. Step 1 is schedule a call by going to the quantumresultsformula.com, www.quantumresultsformula.com. And afterwards, you're going to see a questionnaire about your life and what you want to accomplish. So this is what it'll look like. You'll go to quantumresultsformula.com. You'll see a schedule now button. And then after that, you'll also see a little questionnaire because I want to show up ready to serve you. I want to know a little bit about you. Yes, this does work for most people, but everybody's different. So what do you specifically need? And if that all sounds good to you, then either click the link that you see right now or go to quantumresultsformula.com. And if there's space on my calendar, we can schedule a time to talk. And look, if we never talk, know that I am wishing you the greatest success because you deserve that. You deserve to have everything that you want in life.